Hello, so today we're going to be looking at how to down tempo, how to take distance off shots, how to take speed out of the throw. Now this is something that I really struggle with. I tend to like to throw full power and just disc down whenever I want to take distance off. But there's some real good things you can do with taking power off shots, like you can throw more understable discs and throw them on straight lines. It's good for helping hitting gaps, good for touchy up shots, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that's been really impressive about Anthony Barela's game this year is his ability to throw 80 plus miles an hour with a driver and then to go and throw a touchy lunar shot less than 300 feet. So I was out playing with my wife the other day trying to practice these down tempo shots, and I was really struggling. She used to be a swimmer, and she said, well, we used to always count our strokes and match the beats per minute with it to get the rhythm. So I thought this could be something that I could use with disc golf. So I went through and I looked at these videos, one of AB throwing a max distance drive at a distance competition and one of him throwing a lunar, and just had a look at the difference in the speed of his steps and his run up. So on this one, he's taking round about, it's kind of crude trying to measure it, but he's taking round about 4 steps per second on this. And then if we go to this shorter lunar shot, you can see his feet moving much slower. He's taking about 2.5 steps per second. So using this, I've done a rough calculation, and what I'm going to try to go off is, for the power down shots, I'm looking for a tempo of about 150 beats per minute, and then for the drive, I'm looking for a tempo of about 250 beats per minute. And the hope is that by trying to count these steps, trying to count the tempo and then match your steps to that tempo, the speed of the disc out your hand is going to follow the speed of your run up. And then, so I'm going to take that out to the field and see how that goes. We're out at the course of the TechDisc now. I've already thrown a bunch of practice shots, practicing each tempo, so the 150 beats per minute and the 250 beats per minute, which it feels like there's a massive difference in between the two. So I'm hoping this is going to have a good effect on the speed anyway. So we're going to throw them with the TechDisc. I'm not going to look at the results as we go, because that's probably going to make me change the effort I put in. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 5 with the 150 and then 5 with the 250. I'm hoping that we sort of get around 50 mile an hour with the 150 and then around my personal best of 60 miles an hour with the 250. That's if this all works out the way it should. So we're going to give that a go now and see what we get. I'm going to play the metronome in my head, or in my headphones, and not out loud, because that's going to be really annoying. Sorry, I should be make sure it's recording on the iPad. Trying to put the same swing on it, not swinging back any shorter or anything like that. I'm just trying to slow the whole thing down to the same tempo. Not reaching back any shorter or anything like that. Okay, so that's 2, 3. Right. Okay, so now we're going to go for the full 250 beats per minute. On this one, probably going to see some like running up and tapping, trying to get the feeling of this, because it's a lot tougher to sort of keep the tempo going at a faster one. In practice earlier, I did manage to get one up pretty close to my personal best speed, so make sure these are going through. Yeah, I think we're good. Don't think I'm quite keeping up with the rhythm here. That was better. See, how many was that? Okay, so that was 3 at the full tempo. Okay, I'm just going to walk you through the data that we got from that now. So this is the first 5 with the 150 beats per minute tempo. You can see speed 48.5 on average, max was 50.2, and minimum was 47.3. So right around where I kind of wanted it to be, which I would say is about 10 mile an hour slower than what my normal throw would be. Unsurprisingly, spin comes down on that as well from what I'd expect it to be normally. But nose angle really consistently down, which is good to see. But anyway, I'm very happy with the consistency of that, because when I normally try to power down shots and I'm trying to, have a shorter reach back or do less turn or just decelerate through the shot, I get really, really inconsistent amounts of power. Whereas these have come out super consistent. So I think when we go to throw some actual shots like this, we should see some consistency there. Now, if we go over to the second set with the faster tempo. Cool. So now at the 250 beats per minute, we've got 57.9 on the average, with the minimum being 55 and the max being 59.4. And actually, if you look at these, I had one at that 55, and then I had 2 at 59, 1 at 58. So 3 of, I would say, I don't think I've done a single speed session where I consistently had every throw above 55, almost at that 60 mile an hour. And I did get one that was at about 61 when I was warming up and practicing this. And then unsurprisingly, with the speed going up, the spin's up as well, nearly at 1200, which not bad. I can get better than that. And nose angles, interestingly, not quite as far down on that. If we look at these, yeah, 2 of them were basically flat, where 3 of them were basically flat, and then 2 of them were reasonably nose down. But yeah, I would say, really amazing how consistent. The slower ones were within 2.5 miles an hour of each other, and this
at what I would call almost max effort are within 4 miles an hour of each other. So yeah, just way more consistency than I would ever get just sort of trying to power down a shot by just simply working on the rhythm and the tempo of the run up and letting the throw kind of copy that rhythm, if that makes sense. Anyway, gonna go throw some shots now. Gonna throw some of my more understable discs and some of my straighter, more overstable discs with the different tempos and see what kind of flights we get. Right, we've got a nice little downhill hole here with a little bit of turn to the right at the end would be kind of necessary to get to it, but not really planning to do that. I've got myself my most understable and my most overstable buzz. I'm going to try to throw the understable one with that sort of 50% power, that 150 beats per minute. This is pretty understable, and we got a bit of a left to right wind, so honestly, I would still expect to see some turn on this. But if I throw this with anywhere close to full power, it's practically a roller unless I give it height. So we're going to try the slow one, and then we're going to see how the full power shot with the more overstable buzz compares, and we're going to do that with mid-range, fairway, and driver. So slow one first. Yep, nice little ride, the turn all the way down there. That's gone pretty far. That's probably gone around 300 feet, actually. It is downhill, but just matched the slope perfectly. Right, so now we're going to go for the quicker tempo. I don't know if I've ever thrown this buzz this hard, but see how it goes. Okay. Very similar flight, actually. Started to come out a little bit at the end, but I feel like this is what I'm wanting to see. Like, full power with an overstable disc, getting it to turn. Full soft power with an understable disc, getting it, to make a similar flight without burning over. Then you've got sort of one that's perfect turnover for windier conditions, and then you've got one that's sort of perfect for if you want to power down in the woods. Okay, so over to the fairways, we've got an undertaker here. At full power for me, this is normally sort of really, it's going to hold a turn all the way. So I think at 50%, this should go really, really straight. At least that's the goal. Little bit of flip up and turn with the wind, but a very, very straight shot. Now I've got my beat-in ESP Reaper. Full power, this is sort of like a nice, gets a little bit of turn before it fights out pretty aggressively kind of disc. Very nice, very similar flight there, just holding the turn and then fading out at the end. Right, now onto the understable. This is my most understable. It's a really, really beat-in Zeus. Slightly lighter weight as well. It's about 168 grams, something like that. So not massively light, but I mean full power. This is my roller disc. So 50%, we're going to try and throw it flat with that 150 beats per minute tempo, try to get that. I would expect to see this still get some turn. Yeah, nice little turn. It's probably going to go into that tree. Oh no, it actually went around it. That's a really nice shot. Good distance with almost no effort on it. Okay, now we've got a Z Metallic Andrew Fresnel Force. This one's pretty overstable, really. So full power, I think with this wind, it might still get some turn, giving it absolute full power, but it should fight out pretty quick. Held really straight, and now he's just fighting out aggressively. Okay, we'll go have a look at where those have gone, but I think the clear demonstration there is just how easy it is to throw those really understable discs, like with less power, so that they're getting really consistent flights. Like if I was to go do that in the woods, I'd be so confident that I can pull those out, throw them with the same power every time, and get exactly the same amount of flip and turn. Whereas was I to go out there and sort of try to, do a full speed run up, but then slow down through the shot, you're going to get really inconsistent angles. Whereas I was getting really good power on the hard ones and really controlled power on the slower ones. We'll go see where those ended up. Been out and collected them. The shortest one was the most understable buzz. The longest was the force, and the kind of theme throughout those was that the understable and the overstable, one of each, the mid, the fairway, and the driver, were very close to each other, but the overstable one was about sort of 10 feet, 15 feet further because I gave it a lot more power. But what that is showing is where these sort of power down shots are really useful is just when you need a bit more accuracy. So if you want to throw not as hard but get similar distance and a similar flight, go to your more unstable disc, throw it with a slower tempo, and that's a good way to sort of throw in the woods or throw accuracy shots. Also really good for when you want those nice easy turnovers, because the more overstable discs were still fading out at the end, whereas all of the more unstable ones were sort of just riding that anhyzer and then landing flat. So yeah, that's how you tempo down on some shots. This was really interesting for me. I'm going to keep practicing this. I can see this being really useful. Anyway, thanks for watching.